Welcome to the Kootenay's Medicine Talk. Today we're going to be covering addiction, and namely, do cannabinoids from marijuana increase the risk of addiction or decrease it? Well, over the last several decades in Canada and the United States, our drug education in our schools have told us that there's something called the gateway theory, that if you use marijuana, it's a gateway progressing to use other drugs, becoming addicted to them. Well, that's absolutely false. Statistics and hard science have shown that people who use marijuana tend not to progress on to using hard drugs and becoming addicted to other drugs. But is there a reason why inside the body that this happens? Well, there is. In fact, cannabis can be considered an exit drug. Many people who are addicted to alcohol, cocaine, heroin, tobacco, prescription pills use cannabis to break their addiction and become clean again. And we're not talking about switching one addiction for another, not at all. All we're doing is supplementing the human body's endocannabinoid system with cannabis and cannabinoids to better allow them to go through the withdrawal and break that addiction to those hard drugs. Now, there's something even more interesting than that. Specifically in the center of the brain where you have pleasure and reward circuitry, the nucleus accumbens. This is where the chemical dopamine, the pleasure-reward chemical, is released in response to pleasant events in our lives, and also the taking of drugs. So when people are taking drugs and they're addicted, in this brain center, they're very much entrenched to this dopamine release and this use of drugs. It's a very, very powerful cycle. How do you break that? Well, it looks like in the peer-reviewed science, cannabidiol, or CBD, actually may go into the nucleus accumbens and modulate, that is, regulate the release of dopamine, so that while it doesn't stop the release of dopamine, it normalizes it. And what happens is, we hear this all the time from our members who smoke tobacco, drink too much alcohol, or are addicted to cocaine or heroin, for instance, they start taking less drugs, and they don't even really think about it. It's a very interesting effect. There's even a peer-reviewed scientific study that shows in a 2-week period, people who were addicted to tobacco, who were using a CBD medication in an inhaler, actually reduced their use of tobacco 40%. So there's some real magic here that science is explaining for us, and we're very happy to have a plethora of CBD products in-house that we can help people who are suffering from the symptoms of drug addiction. Thanks very much for paying attention.